Hello, everyone, and welcome back. And today we're going to talk a little more. And uh, I guess today we're going to talk about an experience I had yesterday. Yesterday was, I think it was April 5th, and now we had nationwide protests. And for the first time in my life, I went to one. Now, first, we'll start there, I guess, because I guess as I was thinking about my experience and reflecting on that, preparing my thoughts to get ready to shoot this, I kind of felt a little bit embarrassed by the fact that I've never felt like anything was important enough to be worthy of my time to get up and go stand in a crowd of people and show my displeasure about something. I've never done that before. So that's what we're going to talk about today. Is we're going to talk about the first time I went to a protest. Now, I went to a local protest. I was fortunate enough; I lived about a mile from the intersection that the one in my town was at, and so we just walked up there. Figured we'd avoid parking. I didn't know what it was going to be like. Didn't know how big it was going to be. It wasn't huge, but I was actually impressed. There was I don't know, there was probably a couple 100 feet of people on one of the corners in one of the directions, and it was just solid elbow to elbow people. Everybody was polite. Everybody was amazing. People were trying to get through, and you just see like the crowd part as somebody was walking by. The crowd would just start parting. It was actually really wild. Everybody was super polite. People were staying on the sidewalks. They weren't trampling the grass where we were. They were, and it was just standing in an intersection, eliciting attention from the cars and the honking and it was interesting. Like there was where we chose to stand for a while. In front of us, there was a couple, and they were just like standing there, arms around each other, swaying, and they were singing. Like there was a small part of me that kind of hoped, like I could even hear what they were singing. I was standing 2 feet behind them, but I couldn't hear what they were singing because road noise and everything of cars driving by through the intersection and whatnot. But like, there's a part of me that like I felt like it almost could have spontaneously broken out in something like that. It was quite the experience. And so I never done this before. As we were getting up there, I was dealing with my nerves, and all of that. And as we were getting into the area, there was an elder lady, I don't know, maybe 70, 80, something like that. And and it was interesting. I was sitting there walking into this, and I'm terrified. And I see this lady walking in front of me from her car, she's kind of merging into the sidewalk from her car where she parked, just to where we're walking along the sidewalk. And like, I'm almost embarrassed that I'm scared at that point. And I actually said something out loud. I hope I wasn't rude. I hope I didn't make her feel bad. But I'm like, here I am being scared coming into this. Somebody who's never done this before. And I have to literally calm myself thinking I'm going to do better, because here's this lady coming out to do this thing. And look, if she's here and she's comfortable being here, I'm gonna be just fine. Like it was a surreal moment of, like, it was just amazing, the amount of embarrassment I just felt yesterday. It was the first time going in. I was scared, and old ladies are there, fighting for our rights. Like, and it's nothing like I expected. I went. I guess I was afraid there was going to be weird things. I was kind of personally on high alert, looking around. Like, I'm scared. What if ICE decides to show up and hassle people, and what if people, like, they're looking for people to cause problems or whatever. That's not what happened, though. The cops were standing around. You look around, the cops were usually just chatting with some of the protesters. It didn't look like anybody was being weird or aggressive. Everybody, like I said, everybody was super polite. So it really, and it was interesting. There was all range of people and ideas they were sharing. There was everything from cartoons. There was like AI pictures of weird things, like Musk or Trump in crowns or Joker outfits or various things like that. Just different AI art pictures. There were different signs with everything from just comical stuff to just outright obscene. There were people that had, like, crossed out swastika stuff. Like, it was people, and everybody was there for, like, it was beautiful. This was this hands off rally, right? This is what they were branding it as, is hands off. And it's amazing how many people have so many things that they want the hands kept off of. There are people that hands off, legal, non-criminal immigrants, or hands off our Social Security, or hands off our Treasury. Like, the people are tired of these abuses of power, and we're mobilizing. And if we know one thing about conflict, numbers reign supreme. Numbers have beaten all kinds of technology all throughout history. This has been, and to see the numbers, I couldn't believe the amount of hope that I was struck with. Um, I'd be lying if I said I wasn't struggling with wanting to give up myself, wanting to say it's too far gone, wanting to quit and think that we've given up on our freedom, that we've given up on trying to keep this country great the way that it has been, due to our freedoms, due to other things. And it was inspiring to see people out there, seeing people just in agreement that these abuses have got to stop, that there are people willing to stand up for it. And I had to deal with that, and it was quite an overwhelming experience to be there and see all of that. And I stood there for a significant amount of portion of the time that I was there, just hiding behind my sunglasses and hat so that nobody would know that I was basically standing there crying almost the entire time. And part of it is the fear. Part of it is the hope, though, and the pride in my fellow man standing up and saying, we're going to take this lying down anymore. You're going to have to make us go away if that's the thing. And that's a very real possibility in today's world, but they can't they can't disappear us all. They can't fight us all. It was a wonderful, joyous time. There were people having a good time. It looked like there was somebody that had some kind of an instrument. I didn't recognize it, but it looked like it was an instrument. They were standing on the other side of the street, so I couldn't really hear it, so I couldn't tell you much about it. But it looked like they were playing an instrument. There was another lady. She was all dressed up, big old pink, like, I don't know, like, I guess you would call it a witch hat, like a big pointy hat, but pink hat, pink tutu, pink, just huge pink outfit. And she was just going from corner to corner, just having her own personal party and it all. She was a blast. When she was crossing the street, she'd be dancing and waving in front of the cars. And it was just a joyous occasion. And I guess before I get into some of those details, there was one observation that I understand it. And I guess I'm glad that people take what's going on seriously enough for this to have been a thing. And I wish it didn't have to be this way. But I live somewhere where it's pretty diverse. I go outside, I go for a walk. There's plenty of people of other races, other skin colors than me out there. It's not like I live somewhere, yuppie white anymore. Like, I moved away from the Midwest long ago. I mean, anyway, so that has something. But down there on that corner, almost everyone there looked like me. And I'm glad that people take their safety seriously. And I'm glad that people aren't just going out there, because I'm sure they had the same thoughts I had. Bunch of people gathering. That's a great place for ICE to go and hassle people. And I was scared of that. I'm scared of that. And I don't look like I should be deported. And yet I'm scared of that, because people are being deported without due process, without really checking into who or what their deal is. And they're just being sent off. There's an innocent man in a crazy prison, and our government saying, we sent him, nothing we can do to get him back. It is what it is. And so those fears are real, and they are visible. At least the protest I was at. I was at a smaller one. I wasn't in like one of the major cities or anything. But that bothered me, I guess. But it also made me realize that other people are probably taking this pretty seriously too. So anyway, now that we're past that, I want to get back to the joyous occasion, because I want to speak a little bit to, I don't know, the power of the collective human spirit. I don't really know what to call it, but it was an incredible phenomenon to be standing there with people. And there would be cars that go through the intersection, and they'd honk all the way through, and some would like try to honk out like some kind of pattern or beat or melody or something that was more than just a couple of honks. And occasionally the crowd would roar back at the honks, and then more honks would come. And there's something about the way that this human interaction of all these people getting together and say, we stand together, there's something about that that causes us to see like the hope. Like I wouldn't have found this hope without going to that experience. I'd be running on fear and emptiness now. But now, instead of doing this because I'm afraid of the alternative, instead of fearing what I'm going to say, instead of fearing this, I'm here to get excited now. I'm getting excited. I want to come on here and say, look, don't forget about the power of the human spirit. Don't forget about the power of the collective, not only to effectuate change, but the way that it changes us to have agreement, to go out and see the power of the collective. And I guess it's another one of those issues that really, I guess it makes me want there to be more spiritual things, because we've all experienced this, right? You're in a crowd, and things are different in a crowd. And why is that? And sure, we've got extra audio. We might have music. We might have horns honking and beats. There may be people chanting or singing. And we associate all these things like with this way that it affects our consciousness. But it wasn't like it was unified chanting or music. There were points of some of that kind of, but like, it's just so hard for me to believe that there isn't something more than what we see is what we're getting. Because I don't think looking at a crowd, like if I'm sitting online and I'm looking at a crowd, I don't have these kind of feelings. Sometimes these kind of feelings can come through music and things. I'm sure we've all experienced that, but it also doesn't seem to be the same when you're at home alone. Why is that? And I really want there to be something that connects us. I really want there to be something that when we get together, there's power. And it's interesting because, religious texts of for ages have spoken of the power of the collective, or the power of when people come together in agreement, or there's a lot of different ways that it's stated throughout different texts. But it's really just a lot to ask myself to believe that what we see standing around other people and what we hear standing around other people is it. Like, we know that electromagnetic waves leave our mind. Maybe you get enough people together with enough similar thoughts in a moment, and that's a compounding effect that interferes with each other's. We know that electromagnetic waves can be like, controllably, sent into our mind, and it can affect our moods. We don't really have thought control yet, at least as far as we're aware. Um, but it's fascinating to me, and I guess I only mention this because while I don't know what the mechanism is, maybe there's another dimensional thing that's outside of what we understand. Maybe it's just the EM of us collecting. Maybe it's pheromones in the air and we're scent communicating. Lots of animals do that. Ants, for example, are very big in scent communication. Um, I don't know. I don't know what the mechanism is, but I don't have experiences like that home alone like I do in a big group. And it just really makes it hard for me to believe there's nothing more than what we get. And I guess that's interesting is a critical skeptical mind, like how bad I want to believe it some of these things, but I can't find the mechanism, so I can't make myself do it. But then I have to deal with when I go to an event like this, and I have to reconcile the emotion on that. And even the drain after the fact, like getting home, it is so exhausting. I went and I stood and, like cheered at some cars going by for a while. Like, it there should be nothing exhausting about it, but like, yeah, no, I was wiped out and didn't do shit after getting home yesterday. I was exhausted. But anyway, I guess I'm saying this because there is hope. There are people that are not looking to tolerate what's coming. There are people looking to stand up and band together. And maybe this is where we restore some of this community. Maybe this is a way that we can still start restoring our hope, our faith in fellow man. Um, And maybe this is a way we can actually push back against what really appears to be like incoming tyranny. And I guess I just share all of this to say that if you need a boost, find a group, find a community, find somebody to go stand with, even if it's not a permanent thing, even if it's just for a day, like a protest. Um, because I forgot the power of the collective. I forgot the power of aggregate aggregating the human spirit, of bringing the human spirit together and utilizing that not only to put pressure on the powers attempting to control us, but also to feed ourselves, to give ourselves the energy, the fight, the drive, the hope that we need to face challenges like this. I'm not here to say times are going to be easy, but you know what? Don't lose your joy in the meantime. Hang on to that. Take time to stop and enjoy what's going on. Take pride in fighting back and doing it in a way better than they'll ever fight back with us. Um, and take pride in it and do it well and be peaceful and productive. And for every one of us that is being energized by that crowd, realizing the power of the human spirit, there's a powerful person afraid of that collection. There are powerful people afraid that we're using this. There are powerful people that are afraid of messages like mine reminding us that if we tap into the power of the human spirit, we have so much more strength than we have otherwise. So let's use each other. Let's trust each other. Let's help each other. And let's do this together, because when we stand up, we can retain freedom. It's been shown throughout history. The people can rise and they can win. And we can do that too. So until next time, thank you for stopping by and be well.